Okay, well, again, welcome and thank you for joining our virtual information session for the Community Solutions Incubator. I appreciate you all being here and for your interest in learning more about this program, which is an initiative of the Community Foundation of East Central Illinois. Wanted to start just by introducing myself. My name is Genevieve Kirk, and I'm the Center for Nonprofit Excellence Director here at the Community Foundation. At the moment, I'm also serving in the interim role of director, but my primary focus with our Community Foundation is on supporting and sustaining nonprofits in our community with best practices and tools to help you do good work even better. And so I'm excited to tell you more today about our incubator program, which I've been managing since I joined staff here at the Community Foundation back in 2021. There will be a time for questions and answers here at the end of our session, but I did want to let you know that if you have a burning question that comes up as I'm sharing content today about the incubator, you are welcome to raise your virtual hand or just unmute yourself, and you can ask at any point during our session today, or you can put your questions in the chat. In addition to my role at the Community Foundation, I'm adjunct faculty at the University of Illinois in the School of Social Work, where I have taught classes on nonprofit sector and society, social enterprise and social change, and most recently, a course on managing human service organizations. I really am passionate about the nonprofit sector and the work that innovative nonprofits are doing to solve problems in our community and address different challenges. And I'm excited about this program, which supports new and emerging nonprofits and folks that have an idea and want to see, is this the best route that I should take to reach my goals by starting a nonprofit organization. So that is a little bit about me. Wanted to tell you what to expect for the next 45 minutes or so as we learn about the Community Solutions Incubator. So I'm going to be walking us through this agenda, exploring the question with you: what is social innovation? How do we define it? What are your thoughts on that? I'll tell you the nuts and bolts of what is our Community Solutions Incubator program. I will walk through our 2024 program schedule, some of the benefits that participants can expect. And then we have a couple special guests joining our call today who have served as incubator mentors and/or alum of the program. And I always think it's helpful to hear from outside voices and those who have participated to tell you directly what it was like for them and why they participated in this program. I will share our timeline, how you can apply if you're interested for joining next year's cohort, and then again, we'll have some dedicated Q&A time. I am thinking, if you're kind of conscientious to the time, that we'll likely get through most of our content probably in about 40 to 45 minutes today. So we will be done well before 1 p.m. if you have a 1 p.m. meeting. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get us started with a question that I'd like you to, and I invite you to either unmute yourself or to answer in the chat. What is social innovation? So I'm putting on my teaching cap here. What are your thoughts on what social innovation is? Feel free to type it in the chat or unmute yourself. Would anyone care to comment or join in? I invite you to. Thank you, Anita. So making change, awareness for a social cause. I appreciate that. Anyone else care to jump in? Your thoughts on what is social innovation? Thank you, Kelly. So bringing new ideas or new practices to building stronger communities. Yeah, both of these are really hitting on some important points in social innovation. Again, I'll leave that open for another couple seconds in case if anyone else wants to jump in. I love new ideas and hearing from different voices. Feel free to continue to comment. I'm going to just offer a definition that that I've used that comes from Sarah Soule, from Neil Malhotra, Bernadette Clavier. Social innovation is the process of developing and deploying effective solutions to challenging and often systemic social and environmental issues in support of social progress. Social innovation is not the prerogative or privilege of any organizational form or legal structure. Solutions often require active collaboration of constituents across government, business, and the nonprofit world. So there's a lot in there that we can tease out on how social innovation works, but definitely a focus on collaboration, on partnership, and presenting new solutions to challenging problems that we face in our community. And that's really the heart of why the Community Solutions Incubator was started back in 2017. So I mentioned earlier that this is an initiative of our larger Community Foundation of East Central Illinois. If you're not familiar with the Community Foundation, we are a 501c3 public charity, and we are a philanthropic organization. So by that, we have a number of donors who established funds at our organization. There are different kinds of funds. Some are endowed, some are quasi-endowed, some are donor-advised funds. And those funds are held here. The earnings on endowed funds are then distributed either by donors, specifically to different charities that they tell us about, or they can be not specified in part of granting cycles. So essentially, you can think of us as a local funder. One of our main things that we fund is through our Community Commitments Grant Cycle, which is for durable goods and equipments. And again, this goes directly into the hands of local charities that are in our 9-county region. So that's a lot of the work that we do. And my role on staff is through our Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We believe, in addition to monetary support that the Community Foundation provides, that it's absolutely essential to have training and best practices and workshops to be supporting local nonprofit staff, whether they're executive directors, board members. Recently, we're doing a lot with development directors and those who are on the front lines of fundraising for nonprofits to equip and sort of elevate the work that you all are doing in the community. The Community Solutions Incubator is uniquely focused on new and emerging nonprofits. So those people like you who have an interest in starting up a new nonprofit organization and presenting a different solution within our community. Back in 2022, we started offering this program as a cohort model. So by that, sort of a group model, and you can see here pictured is our 2023 cohort, who we just graduated 5 of those participants at an event yesterday. So it is sort of an exciting program, and one that I think is really helpful for those individuals who want to know, if I have this idea, how do I start, or should I start a nonprofit organization? And that question of should is a big one that we hone in on a lot as we talk through with our participants in our cohort of the Community Solutions Incubator. How this program started is with physical space in our building. So I am seated here in our office, which is at 307 West University Avenue, right across the street from Westside Park in Champaign. And we have an upstairs space in our building that became available a few years ago. And the question was raised, what should we do with this extra space? And the idea came about to offer it as a space for emerging nonprofits to pilot their ideas and to create supportive structures through this new initiative that we call the Incubator. So that was the catalyst, was the physical space in our office. What we've learned over time is that many local entrepreneurs who want to start up a nonprofit don't necessarily need the physical space, especially in this era where many are working remotely, or maybe they're starting their organization as a side hustle or something that they're doing aside from their day job. But they absolutely want networking, connections to other individuals who are in similar stages, access to resources, and training and education. So that has become a real focus of our incubator program. So the framework of our program is education and a mentoring component, which I'll walk you through here in just a second. So we've run 2 annual cohorts since 2022. Some of our folks have incubated for as long as 5 years. So that was one of our graduates last year. Most folks are completing the program at this stage within a year or 2. So it just depends. There's that question of how long do you incubate until you've kind of left the nest, I think varies depending on the person who's founding the organization, their board structure. I think some people take longer to set up initial steps, and others are kind of fast tracking it. So I would say it's possible to complete the program within a year. Some will stay on for maybe 2 to 3 years to get repetition of some of the training material that we're covering. So with that, here is what our program schedule looks like for this next year. So we've done some tweaking each year to our programming based on feedback and evaluations from our participants. This next year, what we're offering is a 10-week program, which includes 5 in-person educational sessions. So each of these sessions is an hour and a half in length. We start with community needs envisioning. So very broad picture of what is your idea? What is the need that you see in the community? Why do you see that? Who else is working in this space? Have you connected with them? What have you learned? And sort of overall visioning of what you're looking at doing with your social enterprise or nonprofit organization. We then get into the nuts and bolts of running a nonprofit organization. So I could give you handouts and materials to kind of walk you through the steps, but again, the why behind it is incredibly important. So we do talk about developing a board of directors, defining your mission, your vision, your values for your organization. As you incorporate all of the process steps that are involved at the state level, as well as at the federal level, if you are incorporating as a 501c3 charitable nonprofit organization. This next year, we're going to get into some strategic planning as well. So planning activities for your organization and thinking down the road for the next up to 3 years. What is your strategic plan? Then we hit on some marketing, messaging your mission, and then finally financial management for nonprofits. So nonprofit accounting is done a bit differently than in the for-profit world, and we want to make sure that you have good tools and education in place to have a solid foundation for financial management of your social enterprise. So in between these 5 in-person educational sessions, this year we're including mentoring engagements on the off weeks. So the 5 in-person educational sessions are every 2 weeks, and on the off week, there will be a mentoring engagement, at which time you'll be matched up essentially one-on-one with a local community member who has experience in running or serving as a board member on a nonprofit organization. And this person will be a sounding board for you. There'll be structured activities during these mentoring engagements so that you can ask questions, get access to information from this individual, and also be connecting with others who are at similar stages of development. And then we will wrap up the program this year in late April. So that's a little different than in previous years where our program has run the full span of the entire year. This year, we're sort of front loading it into a 10-week program that begins in February and will end at the end of April. And then we have continuing resources to support you here through our Center for Nonprofit Excellence. So that is a little bit about what to expect from the program in 2024. I did want to let you know that the application to join next year's cohort is already available. You can get it through our website at cfeci.org, and I'll send out the link after this session today. It's due by January the 15th. So there's some time, and I'd be glad to answer questions about where you're at and if this works for you. Other considerations that you might have as you determine if this is something that can assist you in the next year. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the specific benefits that you can expect as a participant in the incubator. First, there is access to that physical co-working space. If that is something that is needed for you, we are open during office hours, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. So that space is available. Some people have used our space for board meetings. So if you develop a board of directors and do not have a place to meet, that can be a potential space for your board to meet as you get started up. In addition, there are connections to our growing incubator alumni group. I think I'm going to share some of our incubator alums, a slide of their logos in just a second. And again, I've referenced the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We offer free trainings and workshops throughout the year through this Center for Nonprofit Excellence, which supports nonprofits of all different stages. Some are startups, but many have been around for a number of years. Through our Executive Director Leadership Network, we offer board boot camp sessions on a quarterly basis and a new foundational fundraising program. Many of those sessions will be held at the Champaign Public Library in the new year. Another benefit that we've been able to offer our participants the past few years, pending funding availability, is a micro grant upon successful completion of the program. And for those organizations that have successfully completed and are in good standing with 501c3 nonprofit charitable status. Again, you'll have information and be provided with tools on how to incorporate your organization through this program and training sessions that we're offering. But I did want to just put that caveat in that the Community Foundation is not able to make grants or micro grants to individuals, but we can make grants to 501c3 public charities in good standing. So those are a few of the benefits. These are some of the things that participants have left our program with in years past. So understanding of the nuts and bolts of running a nonprofit organization. I have been in the nonprofit sector for 20 plus years at this point in time, wearing different hats in organizations of various sizes and scope. And I can say that managing and running a nonprofit, there's a lot to it, a lot of nuances, a lot of considerations, compliance things to be aware of, as well as programmatic and evaluation and fundraising things. So we can't cover every single thing in detail, but we are going to give you absolutely a good understanding of nuts and bolts of starting up and running a nonprofit. Also, technical skills for building organizational infrastructure. I feel that so many founders, like laying that solid foundation from the start is absolutely essential to future success of your organization. And then how to run your organization efficiently. Many of you are likely in the position where you're not going to have paid staff in your first year. You're likely going to be doing this on a volunteer basis. So whether you have paid staff or not, being able to run an organization efficiently, I think, is something to absolutely aim for. And then skills to form and run your board of directors ethically and effectively. There is a lot to forming a board of directors and then making sure that those board members understand their legal and fiduciary duties. And that's something that we train a lot on here at the Community Foundation. So you'll be receiving that information as a participant in this program. And then on the marketing side of things, understanding how to market the impact of your work and to gain supporters. And by supporters, those can be individuals who make a financial contribution to your organization. Those can be individuals who volunteer their time. And that volunteerism has a dollar amount attached to it. Absolutely. That's a wonderful way for people to support your organization. And then finally, a network of nonprofit founders and service providers that can be a support system to you as you grow. Having previously been an executive director of a local 501c6, so that's a different designation by the IRS, that's a business service organization, but also a nonprofit. I can tell you it's a lot to be an executive director and to run an organization. And so I have found being in community and connection with others is a big help. Just being able to bounce questions, and when you have ideas and when you're dealing with a challenge and are not sure how to approach it, asking others who are in a similar situation and experienced mentors as well. I think those are some of the keys to being able to sustain management in the nonprofit sector and to support you as you're starting out. So that's a lot that I've just shared with you. I'm sure you have questions, but I did want to share these incubator logos. And so this is basically a list of some of our early incubator alums of our program. You might recognize some of the logos here. DREAM being one that many have heard of in the community, Champaign County Environmental Stewards, Business Elevator, Luella's Lodge, which is a retreat center for bereaved parents who've experienced the loss of a child in Oakwood, Illinois. They are an amazing couple that have started a really fabulous program to support others who have walked through tragedy as they have. Win for Recovery and Maker Girls. So these were our very first graduates, and now I've got 5 more to add to this list as of yesterday. But this will give you a sense of some other folks who have walked through these steps before. So I've talked a lot, and now I want to have some other folks talk. So I have invited, as I mentioned earlier, a couple of guests to join us today. Let me see, did I do a slide for this? No, I did not. I just, I think I'm gonna close out my, stop sharing my screen so I can have them share with you and you can see their faces. Let me introduce them to you. First, we have Susan Monty, who is founder and executive director of Champaign County Environmental Stewards. She's an incubator alum who graduated in 2022. And we also have Wynn Kaur. She is Dean Emerita of the School of Social Work at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. She is also our advisory group chair for our Center for Nonprofit Excellence, and she serves as a program mentor. And I have to say, Wynn is a mentor to me in so many ways, and we are so, so lucky to have her as part of this program, and just her energy, her ideas, and her desire to help all of you and to want to see you succeed and to have the tools that you need to run an efficient nonprofit. So I've shared some questions with both Susan and Wynn in advance. And so I'm going to just invite both of you, Susan and Wynn, in no particular order, to just tell us about how and why you got involved with the Community Solutions Incubator. What was your experience like in the program? What was your biggest takeaway from the experience? And in what ways have you benefited by participating in the incubator? So who would like to begin, Susan or Wynn?
I'll start.
Thank you, Susan.
Susan, hi. And I recognize Melissa. Is she still on? I think so. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Hi. So I was working in 2017, 2018 with Champaign County at the Regional Planning Commission. Before that, and I became aware I was doing a task force on how to address certain issues that I thought were important. And one of the recommendations of the task force was to form a nonprofit. And so that's when I started looking for resources, and I was directed to a former board member of the Community Foundation, Rebecca McBride, who I met with a few times. And she told me about the Community Solutions Incubator starting up. And so I looked into it, and it was very helpful. I was starting from scratch, didn't know how to apply to be a 501c3, that kind of thing. And so the Community Foundation resources were very helpful, and as was the executive director back then, Joan Dixon, very, very helpful staff. And so the Community Solutions Incubator, like Genevieve described, had not web, but sessions, information sessions on all different aspects of starting and running a nonprofit that I found very, very useful since I was still working full time. Took me more than 1 year to get through the program, and just kept learning, and I'm still learning even today. So that in a nutshell has been my experience in getting involved with the Community Solutions Incubator, a very helpful resource that I would recommend to anybody looking to start a nonprofit. So I'll stop talking for now.
Okay, then it's my turn. I'm talking to you from what I wish was sunny Miami. However, my phone just told me that the little island I'm on is now under a flood watch. So having like a little excitement as I'm away visiting family. I've been involved with the incubator since not long after Rebecca McBride and Joan Dixon got it off the ground. At that point, I was still Dean of Social Work. Throughout my career, I've worked a lot with helping community members, community groups, getting nonprofits off the ground to address community needs, starting way back, I am old, in the 70s, helping community groups that were trying to address the new issues of community mental health and helping them. And I realized right then, and it's certainly been a concern I've had throughout my work with these organizations, is that forming boards, understanding how to be an effective board member, as Genevieve said, the fiduciary responsibilities are all big challenges that nonprofits face. And so I was thrilled when our community foundation decided that it would really commit to making sure that organizations in our community had the resources to do the best possible job for people in need in our community. So I became a mentor and advisor to the incubator and have stayed on in that role and hope to continue doing that for a while. So
I forgot to add that one of the most useful parts of the incubator for me was the mentor component. So that was very, very nice to be able to meet with someone with more experience than myself and to just bounce ideas off and get information from that person. So that was very, very beneficial.
And I will add that I'm pleased to see that some of our organizations that have graduated, when they encounter new problems, still don't hesitate to come back to us. And Genevieve and I know we were contacted by one this morning, for additional guidance as circumstances change. And we're more than happy to try to help when that happens.
Great. Thank you so much, Wynn and Susan. I want to now open it up to anyone who's on the call who has questions specifically for Susan and Wynn about what they just said. Feel free to just unmute yourself and ask your question.
This is going to seem a little odd, but if you've gotten some people are just starting out, so you're at different phases in the program, and maybe you're all the way to the end where you just need the board, members. I mean, it's good to go from, A to Z, I guess, and start over, maybe get to know everybody. But I mean, what if you're a little bit more advanced in it? I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say or ask exactly, but yeah, I had talked to Susan a little bit about it before, and she recommended you, and so I thank you, Susan, for that. Yeah, but I just was wondering if a lot of the people are in the beginning stages, or how far advanced are a lot of the people?
I'd say it has varied. When I came on staff in 2021, again, we'd had some incubator members who'd been incubating for maybe 3 to 4 years at that point in time. And then we had some who hadn't even yet incorporated. So that was one of the challenges initially, was addressing all of those different levels of questions and considerations that one would have, whether they're had just an idea and they want to explore it versus those who are already incorporated and, you know, in their first or second year of operation. The cohort model that we have now is set up more to support those who are in those early stages, either with an idea or they've started some of the process steps and now they want our organization to walk alongside of them and support. But that said, I would not discourage anyone who's in the first, you know, first or second, maybe even third year of operation to consider applying, because I do feel that there's value in the connection piece of the program, as well as in some of the education piece. And someone in the third year might, while they time-wise are maybe further advanced than someone who's just starting out, it's people's, I find that people's timelines are all over the place and it's hard to really compare them. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, I always wonder, I've been working with a SCORE mentor. She's from Pennsylvania, which the laws are a little different out there than they are here. And I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce, but I've got everything done. I just need to find board members. And so that's what I've been trying to do. And then I need to know, like, how far, like, to get your 501c3, you know, like the steps you have to take in order to do all that. And everybody seems to have a little different time frame, you know, listed on the state site, as well as people that have already, you know, incorporated. So anyway, I appreciate you explaining that all.
Sure. And in the past, I can tell you, we've often advised those who do apply for C3 status, oh, the waiting time, it might take a year, it might take 6 months. But I recently heard from an organization that they got approved very quickly. So I do think some of those holdups that we experienced during COVID are from this person's testimony are a little more expedited than in the past. So that is good to hear if you are on a timeline where you're looking to get approved sooner than later. And as far as process steps, I'd be happy, and Melissa, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and feel free, anyone who's on this call, to reach out and contact me. I have a lovely handout on steps to starting a nonprofit, and it has different process steps that you'd be welcome to use as a reference tool for that if you'd like. And as far as recruiting new board members, I would share, we've done some recorded sessions in the past on specifically on that question. Where do you find board members and how do you recruit them, and best practices? And I'd be happy if you email me to send you the link to that session, which is a couple of years old at this point, but it still has really relevant, good content for those who are wondering, how do you find these board members?
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Sure, you're welcome. Other questions people might have? Kelly, go ahead.
So one of the questions that I had was, do you work primarily with just one contact from the organization, or if there is a core of people who are board members who have been identified, do you work with them as well?
Meaning, would it be the person who's founding as the participant or board members? We've had different situations in the past. My personal preference is one primary contact from the organization being the dedicated person to attend these sessions. And I say that because some of the content, it's helpful to walk through the different sessions. We had one organization who sent us different board members, and I feel like there wasn't the continuity, which I know that can be a challenge for people to attend all the sessions. That said, with the mentoring piece, I would love for those to be in-person engagements held here. And we have found that some of our mentoring in the past maybe hasn't been as routine. And so this year we thought, let's schedule it so that people can know when it's happening. I would say 2 to 3 of those could be virtual engagements, if that makes a difference. Once you're in-person established with a mentor, I would be totally fine with those being virtual after. Educational sessions, we're not offering a Zoom concurrent session at this point in time. Hybrid is hard. So we're wanting people to come, and we find there's just a lot of value in that in-person connection, things that you can do as a group that it's harder to do when you're split. So if that
Sure.
answers.
What about a situation where it's like one key person who is attending everything, but brings somebody else along with them for key things?
Yes, I would absolutely be open to that. Yeah. Mhm.
So I have a question. I'm
Sure.
Tanya Lawson. I'm sorry I could not change my name. I have been in Champaign. I moved to Champaign about a year ago, a little over a year ago. I started a nonprofit in North Carolina about 3 years ago, but I really did not do much with it because I was working a full-time job. So now being in Champaign, I'm able to work on the nonprofit full time, and it's sporadic. Some things, things are just all over the place, but now I am starting to um, learn more about this community, and I don't have the advantage of being a part of this community, so I don't know a lot of people. But I wanted to know, would I be able, is this something that I will be able to apply for? Even though it started and it's been about 3 years, we're still in a lot of beginning stages, and we are trying to connect with people and organizations here. Well, I would say I try to always talk about the nonprofit as a we, because that's how I want to see it. I want to see it as working with a team of people and not me doing 95% of the work. But I wanted to make sure that I would qualify in order, for this incubator. Yeah.
I would say yes. Again, kind of getting back to Melissa's question, 3 years in, but knowing that you haven't been able to kind of do it as a full-time or really dedicated thing. So you will likely you'll be in similar stages from someone who may be full-time or even part-time is really focusing on those early steps. So I would say, yeah, sure, apply. We'd love to read your application and just determine if it's a good fit for the program.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else have a question they'd like to ask? And I'll move us into kind of timeline and next steps.
I did. Just wanted to confirm, I was looking at the website. So this is covering East Central Illinois, right? And I just wanted to confirm. Okay, all right. I'm Southern, so. Okay.
Oh, you're Southern. Okay. I'd be
Well-
happy to connect you with the community foundations down in your service area. And I would also share with our Center for Nonprofit Excellence, we focus specifically on the 9-county region that our community foundation serves. But a few of those sessions are by Zoom. And so these were our more executive director leadership network and some of the board boot camp sessions. For some of those virtual sessions, I've had people from different states come to those. And by Zoom, that's easy. You have to pop in. So I would certainly welcome you to attend and participate in that capacity. But again, if you're interested in
Yeah, and what is the affiliate? You said you spoke to other affiliates in Southern Illinois. Was that correct?
yes, there are community foundations throughout the state of Illinois. Not all run a Center for Nonprofit Excellence, and not all have an incubator, but they likely would be a good point of contact to tell you who you should be talking to in your region, who might support people like yourself interested in starting up a nonprofit.
And you could provide that information, or is it what you're
Absolutely.
saying?
If
Okay,
you
great.
email me, I'd be happy to connect you to other community foundations down in Southern Illinois. Just make sure you send me your specific town or location so that I can get you connected to the closest one.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, let me share with you all just timeline for next steps, what to expect. I know we're in a busy season right now with end of the year. So I wanted to do this session in December so that it's on people's radars moving forward. As I mentioned, the application for our program is already open. So you can actually apply today if you wanted to. It's a simple Google form, and it's just giving us a better sense of who you are, where you're at in the process of starting a nonprofit, what you're trying, what is the actual mission of the nonprofit that you're looking to start up. So go ahead and fill out that application if you're interested in this program. Again, just being specific that you do need to be located in or providing services to residents within our 9-county region. You don't have to serve all of the 9 counties, but you have to at least be serving constituents within at least one of the counties. Yes, new organizations are welcome to apply, as well as individuals who are in idea stage wanting to form a 501c3. I saw a question in the chat I want to address, and thank you, Susan. It looks like you've already answered it. I appreciate that. So, Kawana, that you're forming a nonprofit breast vocational program, you have to have an LLC before applying. And correct, you do not need to be incorporated in order to apply. I would have a follow-up question with you though, because you mentioned LLC, so limited liability corporations. That is for profit, and I want to be specific that our program is for nonprofits organizations, so public charitable status. And again, maybe you're not sure which business structure you're wanting to form. And so that's a question that we can help talk through with you, if that makes sense. Hope that helps. And again, we can chat more here in a second. Application deadline will be January 15th. So you've got some time, about a month to get it in. We have a small committee that reviews applications, and then we will notify applicants of your status no later than January the 31st. Our program then will begin with those sessions on February the 6th. That's a Tuesday, if that makes a difference to you. It's a Tuesday morning sessions from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. And those will be held at the educational ones every other week, with the mentoring sessions on those off weeks at the same time so that people can plan on it. Our program will conclude on April the 16th, and we'll have a celebratory luncheon. I did want to mention we have some expectations and disclaimers for participants, pretty basic material, but we want to make sure that people who are accepted for our cohort are actually able to attend the sessions. So we're looking for at least 75% attendance at sessions, just that you're there, you're present, you're engaged with the material. So I wanted to make sure that you have all the program dates, which you can find here, where the application is located on our website at cfeci.org, just to make sure that you can commit to those days and times. Past cohort size has ranged between 9 and 12 participants. Again, right now we've graduated many of our participants with just one continuing on. So I would say we have a lot of open availability for next year's cohort, which is a little different than previous years. So if that gives you an idea of what to expect in terms of number of participants. We will give, it'll be with me, schedule a Zoom call with you to talk through your application with you before that January 31st date. And then our program will start there in February. So that's our timeline. Questions. Again, I wanted to make sure that I have plenty of time for questions, and I'm going to leave you with my contact information. That's both my email address here at the Community Foundation, as well as my phone number. I know sometimes it's easier to just give a phone call. And so I'm looking at set amount of persons accepted into the program, or is everyone accepted? In past years, not everyone has been accepted. But some of that is due to maybe they were in Indiana or a different state. And again, because we require you to be located in or providing services to residents here. So sometimes people apply that don't meet our eligibility criteria. But again, target a number of people. would be a maximum of between 9 and 12 for the cohort size that we're looking at. This year's cohort might be a little smaller. We'll see. And we might have a minimum too, in which for it to make sense for us to run the program. But I'm expecting there's plenty of interest at this point that we would hit our minimum number. Hopefully that answers that question. Any other questions that I can answer?
Actually, you take us to the website and show us where this application would be, because I'm on it right now and I do not see.
You're not seeing, okay, it's under the About tab, but I love that you're asking that question because yes, I would be happy to walk you through that. Let me share my screen with you. Let me get to the right tab. Okay, so here we are at the Community Foundation's website, cfeci.org. You can read a lot about what we do in the community here. Down at the bottom, we have our upcoming events and trainings. So these, again, are through our Center for Nonprofit Excellence. So up here at the top, under Initiatives, you're going to click on Community Solutions Incubator. And you can read a little bit about the program here, where you'll find the application. You got to click on About, and then it's going to drop down for you. So you're going to see a lot of the material that we covered today in our information session. All of the dates are listed out here for the different sessions, including the mentoring component. And if you scan all the way to the bottom, this little link, apply here, and you click on that, it takes you to our application form. And I put in a lot of, again, some of the fine print so that you are just completely aware as you apply some of the eligibility criteria, when things start, when things are due by, etc. So you would just fill out your contact information, your organization information. Not all of these are required. You'll see that there's an asterisk if we do require it. You'll tell us what stage you're in, what your legal status is if you're already operating, how many people are on your team. For many people, it's just me. Some actually have employees. Mission statement, again, if you do not have a fully crafted mission statement, that is okay. Just put in what you have for now, and that's something that we'll cover in our training material together. Tell us who it is that you're serving or who you intend to serve, and then tell us more about what is the problem that you're addressing and what, again, you don't have to have this all perfect, but in your best effort, what are the services that you provide or intending to provide? This question here about what other community organizations are working to address this problem, this just helps us to know, have you done a little research? Are you aware of who else is operating in this space? We'll talk about this during the program. And then how are you a little bit different than those who are mentioned above? So that would be a good question. If there's already someone doing this, what is the unique spin or the reason for why you would want to do something similar? Measuring impact, again, you might not know your budget for the next fiscal year. That's okay. So just put in what you're able to do, and then you'll check all of these boxes, again, just to know, to acknowledge that you've read what the expectations are to participate in the program. And then you would hit submit here at the bottom. So does that help?
Thank you so much. Very helpful.
Oh, good. You are most welcome. I think it generates an auto response that your form has been submitted. That means we've got it, and that I will personally follow up with you to let you know, and then to schedule a Zoom, which will happen in January, not in December, just to chat with you about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to get some supplementary information about your application. Well, we have covered a lot today. We have a few minutes left before 1 p.m. If there are any final questions that I can answer, or any other questions or comments for Wynn or Susan as a program mentor and past program participant. Well, hearing none, Melissa, you unmuted yourselves, please.
I feel like I'm the only one that's saying everything. I'm so sorry taking up all this time, but I was wondering, I've already filled out and submitted an application. How long does it usually take to hear back from you?
I will get back, now that you've told me, I'll get back with that right away. It's a Google form, so I have to go in and see when applications are submitted. It doesn't auto notify me. But thank you for letting me know. Usually my turnaround time is within 24 to 48 hours. I will let folks know I am taking some time off around the end of the year between December the 22nd through those first couple of days of January. And then we'll be in a leadership transition here. So my response time may be a little slower than usual, but I will absolutely be in touch by early January to schedule those Zoom calls so that we can chat about your application status.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, I just wanted to say thank you all for being here. Thank you, Susan and Wynn, for participating and supporting this program. Thank you all just for your desire and your interest in wanting to be involved in a solution to a community problem. I am here as a resource for you. Feel free to contact me, whether you're applying or whether you decide not to apply. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And with that, I will say goodbye, and I will be in touch with you shortly. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.